In the 1840s, people went to the hospital because they believed it was the safest place to be. But inside one hospital in Vienna, something was happening that nobody could explain. Women entered the maternity ward, hoping to survive childbirth, but many of them never came home. Families began to fear the hospital almost as much as the illness itself. The doctors looked serious, educated, and confident, as if medicine had everything under control. But behind that confidence, there was a mystery that kept getting worse. This was Vienna General Hospital, one of the most important hospitals in Europe at the time. From the outside, it looked like a place of progress, science, and modern medicine. But medicine in the 1840s was missing one of the most important ideas in human history. Doctors still did not understand germs the way we understand them today. The invisible world of infection was still mostly unknown, which made hospitals far more dangerous than they looked. Inside the hospital, there were two maternity clinics that seemed similar from the outside. Clinic 1 was run by doctors and medical students. Clinic 2 was run mostly by midwives. But for some strange reason, Clinic 1 was much more dangerous. Women noticed the difference between the two clinics, even before the doctors wanted to admit it. Some were so terrified of Clinic 1 that they begged to be sent somewhere else. They did not know the science, but they knew one thing. Women were dying there far more often. Most people treated it like a tragic mystery, but one young doctor could not ignore the numbers. His name was Ignaz Semmelweis, and he began watching the hospital more carefully than anyone else. He compared Clinic 1 and Clinic 2 again and again, looking for anything that could explain the difference. He looked at the rooms, the patients, the staff, the schedules, and the way people moved through the hospital. At first, many explanations seemed possible, because medicine at the time was full of strange theories. Maybe Clinic 1 was too crowded, or maybe the air inside the building was somehow unhealthy. Maybe fear itself was making women sick, or maybe the patients were being treated in the wrong position. But the more Semmelweis studied the problem, the more those explanations began to fall apart. The numbers kept pointing back to the same disturbing fact. Clinic 1 was still far more dangerous. Then Semmelweis noticed something that everyone else had treated as normal. The doctors and medical students often came from the autopsy room before entering the maternity ward, and many of them went straight to patients without properly cleaning their hands. To us today, that sounds horrifying. But at the time, many doctors did not understand why it was dangerous. They were not thinking about bacteria, invisible contamination, or germs moving from one room to another. Semmelweis did not have the modern words to explain it, but he understood the pattern. Something invisible was being carried from the autopsy room into the maternity ward, and the most likely place it was hiding was on the doctor's hands. So Semmelweis made a rule that sounded simple, but at the time it was shocking. Doctors had to wash their hands before treating patients, using a strong chlorinated solution. Many doctors hated the rule because it suggested that they themselves might be part of the problem. But once the hand-washing rule began, the results were impossible to ignore. The death rate dropped dramatically, and the mystery finally had an answer. Semmelweis had found the truth, but finding the truth was not the same as being believed. Other doctors became angry because his discovery made them feel accused and embarrassed. Instead of listening, many of them ignored him, mocked him, or treated the idea as nonsense. Years later, science finally caught up, and the world accepted that hand-washing saves lives. Ignaz Semmelweis was right. But the tragedy is that they believed him too late.